Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Together, Jake and his friends interview talents varying from actors, directors, writers, producers, composers, puppeteers, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
What is going on, you guys? And welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the show where nostalgia comes alive. At least I get the tagline right. Joining me, as always, is Matt Bingel with our good Freddie buddy Julius, Chris
Freddie buddy,
good buddy, or good Snoof, and the guy that messes it up the most, more than anybody I know, Jake Deffinbaugh.
And me.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Chris, introduce
Hello.
you a second.
Hello.
Yes.
And
We are
today,
Hello.
Scooby. How are you
Great
guys
as
doing, by
always.
the way?
We're
Good.
good.
I'm
Great.
mysterious. You'll see why. Today, Scooby fans will love this interview. There we got somebody from the Scooby community for once. He's worked
For
on.
what? What does that mean?
We haven't had anybody from Scooby. I mean, Cade didn't work on Scooby.
K doesn't
Right.
count. Damn.
He's worked on probably one of my favorite Scooby-Doo series, Be Cool Scooby-Doo. But he started as a storyboard artist, a writer, and a voice of a character. But he started off on Phineas and Ferb. Here he is, Jon Colton Barry. How are you, John?
I'm good. Why? How you doing?
I'm amazing as always.
Yes. Very happy to have you on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good to
Yeah.
have you guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
first question is, we know who you are, but for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jon Colton Barry. I'm
Yeah.
primarily a writer. Just not a big deal. Just to I was never a storyboard artist on the Scooby-Doo. Be Cool Scooby-Doo. I started off as a writer on that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for the purpose of this podcast, I've written on three pretty well-known animated shows: Phineas and Ferb first,
Yes.
and a Scooby-Doo show called Be Cool Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
and then a Lego show, Lego City Adventures.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
Matt and Julius, you want to ask the next question?
Sure.
Mhm.
What? Okay. Yes. So what got you into writing for TV shows?
Dan Povenmire, one of
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Phineas and Ferb, the voice of Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yep.
He is an old friend of mine. We've known each other, forever. And I right out of college, and he and I were, friends. We were in bands, different bands, but at the same time, and we had, always liked each other and liked each other's work, and he eventually sold a show called Phineas and Ferb in 2006 to Disney after 13 years of pitching it around town. He was a director on Family Guy when Disney called him about the blue, like, "Hey, remember that show you pitched ages ago? We want to do that." And I was doing comedy on the stage at that point.
Mhm.
And Dan saw one of my shows, and I thought it was funny, and the comedy tone was really sort of silly, and he thought that voice would work well for Phineas and Ferb, and asked me if I'd be interested in writing on that show, and I was, and it was a really good fit. Again, it was a show that had music and that sort of stuff, and I also do have an art background, a songwriting background.
Yes.
As does Dan, and so that's how I sort of got into TV. I was offered it, and I was like, "Yeah, if they'd let me do it, sure." It sounds like fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep. Your music is
Nice.
definitely amazing and be cool, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yes. Yeah. So, who are some of your inspirations?
I mean, in terms of comedy, which I get, is the focus here. Just because I grew up in a very sort of creative family. My father's a songwriter. My mother and my uncle are writers and producers and musicians, and just every artist, any kind of creative activity, someone in my family sort of does. So it was a very normal thing. And I was introduced to a lot of before my time comedy, a lot of pre-1980s comedy, Monty Python, very early Woody Allen stuff, very, very early Mel Brooks. The Marx Brothers were a huge one. That sort of silly, smart kind of stuff, absurdist stuff was a really big influence. And Family Animation is one of the few places where you could still do that kind of comedy, and it works really, really well there. So it's been super fun for me.
I bet.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. So Jake, why don't you ask the next question?
Yeah. Was writing always a passion of yours?
Yes. I mean, all the different. I growing up, the first thing that was sort of evident that I could do was sort of draw. My mother would draw with us growing up on the bed, and so my sister and I always were drawing, and so that was I was sort of the artist in school, although I was never when I started working on Phineas and Ferb, I was really introduced to professionally trained artists in animation, and those guys are just beyond. I'm stick figures with those people. But I could sort of draw and so it was. And then songwriting, music, I always loved, and that's probably my greatest love. But writing, I mean, it's all creative problem solving and fun, and it all works together.
Yeah. It does. It's insane how it all comes together. Do you have a favorite thing from Phineas and Ferb you wrote?
I'm sorry, a favorite?
The favorite project you worked on for Phineas and Ferb, because I know you worked on the show and some other stuff. Yeah,
I really liked our first the Cross and Second Dimension movie.
Yeah. I love that movie.
That movie's amazing.
Love it.
We were all pretty psyched by that. We thought we really liked it, and we were thinking that should be our theatrical release, and it would be a really great, it had a big story. They discover Perry's an agent, and it was a good character story. It was juicy.
It was amazing.
Yeah, second due.
Rewatched it on Disney Plus last year. Love it.
Yes.
It holds up. It's good. I mean, I think the Phineas work was really good. Everyone on that show was just so talented. We were having so much fun.
Yeah.
It was it was successul. And so that was really exciting, to be on a show that people were excited about and were talking about. And everyone was really motivated. It was a really good energy. So that there, a bunch of episodes I work on. I tend not to think in terms of favorite episodes. Looking back, it's little moments or scenes or jokes or I'm so glad that people have to deal with something that silly. I'm glad that that's out there in the world. But Nerds of a Feather, that episode where they go to the science fiction fantasy convention was a favorite of mine. A lot of work I did with Piero Paluzzo was my storyboard partner on that show for a lot of episodes. I really like the work we did. I think it holds up.
It definitely does, and this series is amazing. I know Dan and Swampy are working on this new show now, which is Hamster and Gretel.
I'm not sure. I don't think Swampy's on that one. I think that's sort of Dan and Swampy is. They still are.
Yeah, he's still doing his stuff. But,
yeah.
Anyway,
and I heard that there's been talks about a possible another movie or another Phineas and Ferb movie in the works.
As long as the people, Dan and Swampy specifically, think that there's still mines, like veins to mine there and gold. They'll always be happy to do more Phineas and Ferb if they think there's a good creative reason to do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely. So, how did Be Cool Scooby-Doo come about?
Yeah.
The Scooby-Doo series before Be Cool was
Mr.
Incorporated, which was a much more sort of older, little scarier take on Scooby-Doo. With inner gang romance and kind of I have a 10-year-old son, and I'm not sure, maybe now, but when he was younger, I don't know if I would let him see that show. It was pretty like, wow, that's pretty scary, And Warner Brothers, after most Scooby-Doo series get a couple seasons, and then they try something else. And they decided, okay, that was more serious. Let's do something very comedy oriented. Again, Phineas and Ferb was very successful at that point. And they thought, well, what if we brought in a much more silly comedic Phineas and Ferb like tone and do a Scooby-Doo show like that? And a dear friend of mine, Zach Moncrief, who was the director and writer on Phineas and Ferb, and he and I always worked really well together. He was over there at Warner Brothers. They offered him Scooby-Doo and to do a Phineas and Ferb sort of comedy version. And he's like, oh, we should call Jon. It would be fun to work with him. And, I was like, yeah, let's do that. And so Be Cool Scooby-Doo was born, purposefully very, it was supposed to be, they said at the time, Mystery Incorporated was 30% comedy and 70% scary, and they want to kind of flip those.
Yeah.
And that was, the mission brief for Be Cool.
Yeah. I will say this, and all the character designs that I've seen in every episode, I've been watching the show. But of all the character designs, Daphne is the best. Like in the first episode, I know Matt will get a kick out the first episode because she's obsessed with puppets in the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh, and the beard thing.
Wow.
The beard thing is funny as well. So that's awesome.
How'd they get away with that? That's what I want to know.
Daphne's amazing and fun.
Daphne's
Gretel
definitely
plays
something.
it perfectly. Like you can tell in the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Gray's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we would ask ourselves all the time how we were getting away with some of the stuff we did on that show. I mean, it was really Warner Brothers was very, very supportive of what we were trying to do, and we felt very free to, just put in there what we wanted. We were very proud of that show.
It definitely is, and it still holds up to this day. Like I started it this year, and boom, still watching it. Actually, I started it last year with the Christmas episodes, and I'm still watching it to this day.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite song or episode of Be Cool Scooby-Doo that you wrote?
I didn't do as much songwriting Be Cool as I did on Phineas and Ferb. Just because I was the sort of the head writer, story editor on Be Cool. It was such a big job. That there just wasn't as much, time for the songwriting stuff. And yet Jake Monaco was just a brilliant composer and music guy, did the score for Be Cool. That fell in his domain, and he would, I wrote a few songs with Jake. He would write songs or pull songs from libraries that we would have of songs that would work well. And I thought the music worked really, really well, bringing back those sort of romp chases to a song in the original Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? Yeah.
Definitely, if we're talking about favorites, Screamadonna is definitely my favorite, especially the way they explain how they solved the mystery.
That was that. Yeah, we worked with Kate on that song, and we're so happy to do it. Let's do a mystery recap in song form, and have Velma in it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's just amazing that people can discover it and be like, "Oh, that's my favorite episode."
Oh, thanks.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is awesome, and I know Wyatt was also wondering about a certain character that you voiced.
Yes, you voiced somebody in an episode called Me, Myself, and AI that you wrote.
Yeah, I did the voice of Techie.
Yeah,
I did it under duress. I was not my choice to do that. Normally, I would have to do a lot of. The scripts were right up to the wire on Be Cool Scooby-Doo, trying to get, there was so much to service one of those episodes. All 5 characters, it was a much more character-driven Scooby-Doo show, where the gang was personally involved in the stakes of solving the mystery. And so the writing was real hard, and so right when I would be done with the script, I would go down to the editing room with Kyle Stafford, who was an incredible editor on that show, and also wrote 3 of the episodes with me. 3 of the silliest, funniest, my favorite episodes of that series. But I would go down and do what they call scratching the dialogue. I would record myself doing the entire script all the voices, so they could start building it in the storyboards could start, going forward, and they can start timing it out, and then they would just catch up with the actors and drop the actors' dialogue in where I would have it. And in that particular episode, Sam Register, the head of Warner Brothers Animation, just liked my read on Techie.
Yeah.
He just thought that no one else was doing it funnier or better, whatever, his own opinion, and asked me if I would do it. And I really don't consider myself, an actor or performer in any way, but I was sure, so I went there, I am Techie, and it was just,
that's awesome.
Almost like a stalkerish, computer generated mascot.
Yeah.
It was a bizarre character, and a little bit creepy. And I'm proud to say that was my big acting career. I'm in SAG for voicing a stalking piece of AI.
Yeah. And I will say this, the series after yours is still good. It holds up to the originals as well.
Oh, Guess Who? You mean?
Guess Who is amazing.
Yeah, it's very much. I mean, the people who complained about Be Cool Scooby-Doo, and there were many people who complained about Be Cool Scooby-Doo.
I know. There's just so many people.
Guess Who must have felt like manna from heaven for them, because it was almost it was a love letter to the original Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? In the new Scooby-Doo movies with the guest stars, very much in that style visually and the writing. So it was a very nostalgic and warm series in that way.
It is. It's amazing. Like, there's no new Scooby thing until this new Mystery Pups thing that's coming out, which honestly, I don't know if that's going to be good or not.
Well, also they have the HBO Max Velma series.
Yes.
Starting.
I know about that. We know about that.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of curious. Do you still keep in touch with anyone from Phineas and Ferb and Be Cool Scooby-Doo?
Oh, sure. I mean, all the people I worked with, Piero and Zach and Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, those are all pals.
We'll have to reach out to some of them to have more people on it.
Oh yes,
yeah,
definitely love to have them on. Go ahead, Jake.
What is the most challenging part for being a writer and songwriter?
I mean, writing and songwriting well, is
there you go.
The budgets and the schedules, particularly for family animation, are pretty brutal. So if you want to try to do something of consistent quality, it is very, very laborious and hard to try to keep a consistent quality and even tone and throughout a whole series. And that's always the challenge is not just getting it done, but getting it done well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right.
Anyway, Matt,
Matt, you ask the next one.
Okay. Do you have any advice for someone who wants to be a writer or songwriter?
Yeah.
I mean, apart from write and songwrite as much as you can, and read and listen as much as you can. I mean, something. Besides, I would say the same things that most people, would say.
Yeah.
The two things that were unique, I think, to my experience that I think were very, very valuable, and people could do with it what they want, is writing comedy in particular for live stage is a brutal sort of facing the music in terms of, do people like this or not? When you're writing comedy, laughter is what you're looking for, and they're either going to laugh or they're not going to laugh, and it's just live and it's there. And so I did about 5 years straight of just throwing stuff at audiences and trying stuff out and seeing that, I could sort of trust my instincts. What I thought was sort of funny, people can reach an audience. So I went into TV writing feeling like, oh, okay, I have to be myself, right? Like me.
Yeah.
And that's what Dan wanted.
Mhm.
He saw the same thing and said, yeah, I want that. And that's what Zach wanted in Be Cool Scooby-Doo, that, my writing voice from Phineas, and then that's someone from Lego saw Be Cool Scooby-Doo and they wanted that voice for a Lego show. So I went over there. So developing my own sort of voice as a writer, my own style, served me really, really well in terms of people calling me for specifically what I do, which is it gives me a narrower sort of path, but a really nice, consistent path, and not feeling like a hack, not feeling like I'm like, oh God, I'm trying to write to like someone else or capture, I get to be me, which is really, really nice. And I've been very lucky in that respect. The other thing with songwriting that I noticed is that songwriting and comedy writing are very, very similar. They're both rhythm and lyrics and melody, and just making that connection in my own head really, I think, served me well, particularly with comedy writing, the musicality of it and making sure that got onto the screen the way it was intended.
Yeah, right.
I will say that I will say this for all of us. I really hope you come back in the future. Maybe have Zach and Jake on with you. It'd be cool.
Maybe.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, scheduling is always, pretty
tough. Yeah, it can be tough.
Yeah. We can attest.
We can definitely attest.
There, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, another question I'm curious about is, what are your thoughts on like the Scooby fan community?
Yeah, what's your thoughts on the Scooby community?
In terms of what? I mean, everyone's been super, super nice to me.
Yeah,
they're very, very passionate. They're very invested in Scooby-Doo. There is no consensus opinion. That's the main thing I've noticed is everyone has a different favorite show. Everyone defines Scooby-Doo differently. And it's also based on what you grew up watching. Yeah. Some people Scooby-Doo is their Scooby-Doo. For some people, it's always going to be Scooby-Doo. Where are you? I love to
many.
Be Cool Scooby-Doo will be somebody's Scooby-Doo, That's the main thing is everyone's very passionate. Everyone's been very nice to me, even people who aren't giant fans of the show. But most of the people I've met really, really like the show, despite the very sort of vocal, looks like Family Guy, whatever you get on Twitter or whatever. In actually practical reality, everyone's been super, super nice and generous.
Exactly. And I mentioned them at the start, JB and Millie and Tiger as well. Tiger's awesome. They were all just wonderful, and we had a good time doing their podcast.
That's awesome.
But Be Cool Scooby-Doo is good. It's a different style, but that doesn't make it a bad show. It's still a good show. I think it's definitely a good show.
Exactly.
On the subject of fans, what would you like to say to fans of your work?
Thanks for watching. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it.
Yes, definitely are.
Indeed.
If people want to contact you, where can people find you? Like on social media? Where can people find you on social media?
I'm Jon Colton Barry, usually one word at Facebook.
Yeah, he's on Instagram.
I'm pretty findable. I'm pretty approachable. If I have the time, I'm always happy to say hi and I'm a huge fan of things myself, so I'm totally happy to say hi to people.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Matt, end this episode off.
Yeah.
Julius, you haven't really asked anything. Do it.
Oh, come on. I've asked you questions compared to him. Oh.
All right, Matt,
Matt,
you do it.
Yeah, human.
And also your social media and your website and everything.
They'll be done. For those who want to
follow him.
Those who want to follow him, they'll be down in the description.
Yeah.
Go, human. This podcast is, of course, called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of? Or how do you define nostalgia?
Yeah.
Okay, that's hey, brand new question, guys. I'm thrilled to get a new question. How do I
There you
define
go.
nostalgia?
We're the podcast.
That's how we stand out.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing that.
Other than
first puppet question I've gotten, and hopefully not the last. And
no, I hope it's not the last either.
Yeah.
It's not. Come on.
I think nostalgia, in a way, has something to do with all the sense of smell, the sense of taste, visual things. When something connects with those different senses and is transportive, so enough of those senses. Sound and taste and smell is taking you back to the actual feeling of what it was like to be there in a past time of more innocence, of wonder, that sort of thing, of happiness.
Yes.
It's nostalgia is like a little psychological time machine that you find yourself in when the perfect storm of sensory input happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. We'll
It
definitely.
has definitely been a blast.
I know Chris, Matt, and Jakey will definitely check out Be Cool's now.
Yes, I've seen a bit of it.
If people liked Phineas and Ferb, I would definitely say it's certainly a show that is written in that spirit and by in some cases the same people and also I gotta say Lego City Adventures, for people who have not watched that show, it really is a continuation of that same thing. Like I was saying earlier, it's tonally, the same sort of comedy, and I'm really very proud of that show as well. And I hope people go check it out. It's on Amazon, and it's streaming in various places in different territories.
We definitely have to get Dan Povenmire on. Definitely, it's going to be hard.
I was saying,
good luck. I mean, Dan is absolutely a busy guy, but he's on TikTok and
he's everywhere.
We love his TikToks. His TikToks are great. Oh yeah.
We'll get Jake Monaco on. I found his contact page.
Yeah, please do. Jake is amazing.
Yes.
You actually have two. Awesome. We've had two Chris's in the past. I do Jake's on.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the sequel to Chinatown, The Two Jakes?
Somebody write that down. I want to see that. No, but thank you. I gotta speak for all of us. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast.
Yes.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. It was a good time.
We had lots of fun. And with that being said, another fantastic episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show comes to a close. We've absolutely enjoyed our time with Jon Colton Barry, and we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And stay tuned for
nostalgic.
More.
You're worth it.
Stay nostalgic. You're worth it. And
you are worth it.
Yes.
Bye,
see y'all next time. Bye everyone.
Bye. Stay mysterious.
Bye.
Bye. Stay mysterious.
Stay mysterious. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Oh yeah. Bye.
Bye. See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember that you are worth it and to always stay nostalgic. Bye bye.